Uh, I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm going to try to put this up. Having a rough time. Um, I'm 79 years old. I've been through a lot, and I'm trying to put this up. And not funny. I guess I use laughter as humor to try to get through it. And by the way, I want to thank a lot of you YouTube viewers who have contacted me and wished me well, and I wish you well right back. I really do, and I thank you very much. And if I haven't been able to contact you back, I will try to. I really will. I wanted to put this up though. Excuse me if this is bouncing around. I just looked back. My phone was taken. It was down. Then it was taken, stolen, and brought back because I couldn't get into it, really. Neither could I until of last week. Uh, that's something in itself. But anyway, I was just looking. This is 3217. It's on the Gmail that came back. Let me see if I can hold this up and get it kind of okay. Oh, this was to me. Well, anyway, it's the day. Okay, I'm just going to read it. What it entails is the putting. I'll read it to you. First of all, it's using the mental health system. Just like I've been talking about in all this mind control, it's a weapon, and it's used like the Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh. I put the picture up of that in Project Lucid was the name of the book. Church gave it to me, Rainbow Forest Church out here in Troutville years ago. Project Lucid by Tex Mars, and he's written a lot of books and very good ones. Oh, he's deceased, I believe. But anyway, they knew what I was talking about. They'd heard. And quite frankly, I lived on the Appalachian Trail there off near Troutville and Bonsack, Virginia. I mean, that's Roanoke. Challenger. Thought that was cute and all this. But anyway, they sent the book to me and said, "This is what you've been talking about." Only I was talking about it before I ever came here. And I've put that up so I won't be redundant. But anyway, Timothy McVeigh was put to death. And he said in that article, and I put that up, it was in his book, but I knew because of the patterns. Why the media has put these up, and they've put the ones that are done in patterns. The police years ago, if I'm correct, it's before the Yenzorans, before they brought him back. I'm not sure from England because he and Elizabeth Haysom had gone there because they were going to be charged with the murder of her parents in Bedford County. Which this is a total wrong that's been done. He's a diplomat's son. I come in contact with him when I was in that political campaign, October, or this would have been September of 1983. He was in college, private school there in Marietta, Atlanta. And I was sent out on a temp job. It was the coaches, I think. I worked for the coach there. And it was a message he wanted to give to me to give to what's the other one's name? I can't remember his name. Anyway, and Jens, this whole thing, he's in prison. Elizabeth Haysom's Canadian citizen. She's in prison. It's what they do when I'm trying to tell this. It makes sense to me, and it's hard to put it together, especially when I'm kind of fatigued and all this from being run from place to place, and make it make sense to someone else, some of it. But there's enough up there that people know I couldn't make it up, for God's sake. But anyway, I had started having to live out in the national forest to have a place just to be and try to get a tent and put up in a sleeping bag when I could get the money or do a few odd jobs like live-ins or something. I was shut down and people told not to help me. So, I was over up at people here know where it's at off the Blue Ridge. It's from Roanoke. It's up on the Blue Ridge, past the Peaks of Otter North, about I guess 7 miles, and that's the hiker shack that I went to a lot later on. Um, and then on the other side, across the Blue Ridge, going down to Lynchburg, is a pond back in there. And I actually camped, and it was horrifying, but I camped there. And one day there was, I've got his name. I'm not sure it was Ricky Gardner. I don't know that it was the cop that came up there. He was in a van. I didn't know he was a cop. He said, I've heard about you, and he said, I want to talk to you about it. And he said some things that he knew about the mind control murders and everything. I'm getting to my point here. I have to give background, and then I'm not sure that helps sometimes. But, and I'm trying to keep this up. Maybe one day I can afford one of those things you, and you talk into it and you keep it straight. But anyway, he said, well, I'm going to bring you, because I was trying to catch fish out of a little pond. I've been put out with no matches. I mean, you're talking about roughing it and thrown out there. I was. There's a little pond back in there that you could catch fish in. And I didn't have any hook or anything, and not many people came out there, at least not then. This is back in '87, I believe, or about that timeline when that happened. The murders of Elizabeth's parents happened in the 1st of April, 1985. Yeah, they were students at University of Virginia in Charlottesville, where all this other stuff is going on that they don't tell about either. But they told about the this past Sunday. They had all those protests and everything, and Heather Heyer, and I've put that up here. And nothing against her. I'm trying to say, I've been telling about mind control, murders, and I was trying to say where people are programmed, and the precision is just that. It's perfect. I mean, the only person in there, probably a whole bunch named Heather, was the one that got killed. And if you see what the driver went to hit her, I mean, he was programmed, and you have to wonder about everybody else standing in there. Knowing what I know, you do. Now, where am I? I get around trying. Oh, well, anyway, the policeman from Bedford County, that's where Jens and Elizabeth were found guilty, and they're in state prison. And you got Governor Tim Kaine, ex-governor of Virginia, who is now a United States House of Representative and ran on the VP ticket with Clinton. Before he stepped down as governor, he said that Jens Orings could go home. These are mind control murders. And I'm not even, okay, just let me leave it at that. Maybe it'll be told someday, I pray. Anyway, he said that Jens could be sent home for the remaining time that he was supposed to serve it there. He was diplomat's son. So Elizabeth Hasten was kept in Goochland. Now, he went to Buckingham State Prison in Virginia, and another one prior to that. But the media here won't touch it. None of this. It is so sick. But anyway, the vice, Tim Kaine, made the statement when he ran as VP with Clinton, Hillary. He made the press did ask him about Jens Orings, and he made a different thing. He said something about, that it was different from what he had said when he said he could be released to serve his time over there. And then the next governor, MacDonald, squashed that. These are innocent people. And anyway, Kaine said that when he was running on the VP, and they did question him, the media did, he said, well, he thought they ought to the reason he was sending Jens back then and sending him home to Germany is he thought the Germans should take care of him and feed him now. My God, it is so sick. really. Now I'm going to get to this. I've told that, and oh gee, I probably have lost people because it goes back and forth and trying to connect. And what I wanted to connect here really was this came. I found out about this, and to that lady, yeah, I contacted Guardian. I've contacted everybody. They know it. It either comes into court, the UK Brits bring it, or the United States feds bring it before a court where it's told. I don't know. The media won't touch it. Okay, I'm just going to read this and put it down if you can. It's http semicolon slash slash www.dailymail.com UK female FEMAIL slash article 2059831 slash, and it tells about the Queens. Of course, Elizabeth is illegal, but that's who they're referring to here. Hidden cousins. They're probably my cousins too, but this is the point, that they were banished to Asylum in 1941. This year I was kidnapped and brought over to the Moulton, Alabama. Okay, left and neglected. Intriguing documentary reveals all dash HTMI, and this was on my email back in March of last year, and it came back to me when my phone was fixed. But you can actually Google Guardian and put in enough that you should come up with it, because they had pictures of the relatives, the cousins. They're probably my cousins too, if they are to Elizabeth. And they were left there to die. Nobody went back to see them or check on them. So I put this up on a video back then. I Googled it and put it up on the video, or at least I put it on Facebook and did the video about it. I don't know that I could put it on the video, but anyway, I did do a video on it back then. That's about 3/2 of 17. I put it up on Facebook. And you know, all this, and Elizabeth is just enjoying her spoils of war, spoils to me and to the Brits, whether they know it. Some of them know it. She's enjoying the media attention, the wealth. The people adore her a lot. Most people do. They don't want to hear this. I'm in rags and what they've done to me, unless it's shown somehow. There's photos or whatever. But I guess that's what I was going to say right at the moment. But anyway, the mental health system, part of this has been my telling about the mind control murders, and how that the mental health has been used in it. And I want to go back, because I put this up, and I'm not going to try to get into details, because then I'm going back and forth and confusing. Martin Luther King and all the civil rights, and Andrew Young, the Reverend, who was with him when he was shot, he became mayor, and Jimmy Carter from Atlanta. See, I lived there during a long time, when I did the book and got in the campaign in '83, if you call that living. I'm going to forget what I was going to say. Guess somebody will accuse me now, not taking into consideration the life I've lived, and the way I've had to live, and the fact that I'm old. I have to face it, I'm old. I'm 79 and bad health. So there you go. Now, where was I? Help. I was telling about Ian's O-rings, and then I wanted to tell about this. But I was telling about Ian's, and well, I will go back to this, and hopefully y'all can follow me if you're interested in it. I was up on the Blue Ridge. No money, no nothing. There was a cougar living behind me. I am not kidding you. There was a cougar. I later saw that cougar, and it had a baby too. So there had to be two of them up there. uh, I mean, it was a choice between the cougar or and living up there with nothing and freezing, and then it was summer and eating. Here's what I tried to eat: grapevines. I ate. Tried to find blackberries. I fished using salamanders. I hope that's not illegal from under the rocks. And here's a good one that I found, especially after rain. You can get a, what am I trying to say now? A snail. And these are the ones that crawl along the highway or up there after rain, and they're not in the shells, is it? But you can put them on a fishing line, and you can catch some fish with them. They're pretty good. But they weren't. I couldn't. Didn't even have a line to fish with, so I had to go around so I'd have something to eat. I went around in the treetops and looked all around it, and I come up with fish hooks and line, and that's how I started out. And then I was up there, and then I'm going to skip to. I lived up there like this for a long time. I had no toilet tissue. I used leaves. The park rangers ran me, and then you find out the park rangers have to do in all this mess. Um, okay, that's when I was living up there. If I'd managed to get a tent, living up there in this condition, and people were told they were told not to help me, and they didn't. But the policeman came by there in a van, and he said he would come back. He'd heard about me, and I don't know if it's Ricky Gardner or not. That's what got me off telling about Ian's Orings, because that wasn't cool, and I guess I'll keep my mouth shut here. What happened to Jens and Elizabeth? But anyway, he said, "Well, I'm the whoever it was, the policeman in the van said, I'm going to come back and bring you some food." Well, that night when I was in the tent, lo and behold, coming up that little thing, here comes near the pond. Here comes two sheriff's cars, and there was a Sheriff Carl Wells when I originally came to Roanoke, and he was a nice man, Bedford. He was Sheriff Bedford. Who was the sheriff? Well, he's still a sheriff now, I think. Anyway, I'm not going to mention. Um, I think Wells was still sheriff then. Anyway, they took me down, and I was in the front. I believe they put me in front seat. I'm not sure, in one of the cars, so they weren't. But the guy brought me a hamburger that he must have bought that morning when he went down. It was cold, but I was hungry and I ate it. Okay, this is 9 dark. They took me to Bedford. They sent me in the put me through the jail thing. I'm not locked up in front of the cell that had nobody in it, and the cell was locked though. So they weren't arresting me. It was a point I'm making, because this is what I call role playing in a sense. Um, they sent me there and they gave me a cup of coffee. I love coffee. Coffee and coffee, about 3 cups, and they were nice to me. Okay, here's what happened next. I'd been telling about Jens Orings and the fact that they were illegally prosecuted, and they all knew it. The judge and Everett Sweeney, all of them knew it. And better not say too much about the prosecuting attorney, Updike, because the Updikes owned a funeral service, and I had a lady who knew a lot. I was in a car with her a few years ago. She said, "You're lucky you're not in the funeral home, knowing all this and telling it." Well, anyway, I